I'm back with another one, back with another one. Boom! Ah! Just kidding. It's been a very, 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 very long time. Too long for me, especially if I'm trying to hello, whatever. It doesn't even matter. To those that waited for me or like are supportive of me, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for liking and subscribing and watching my videos and keeping my numbers up here and there. In light of Pride Month, we're going to be talking about Geto Suguru and Satoru Gojo. I know I said their names like backward kind of a little bit. I'm not Japanese. I love anime. Don't give me a hard time about how I say their names, okay? I know it's like Geto Suguru and Gojo Satoru, or Satoru Gojo, and Suguru Geto. That's whatever. It doesn't matter. But anyway, we're going to be talking about Geto and Gojo and how they had a tragic love story. And also I want to just touch base on us, touch base on us as humans, as people of this earth, in light of everything that's going on. Got a little baby message for you guys. I'm just little old me, but maybe this message will reach somebody and hopefully things kind of change on their side, like how for me it did. So anyway, getting on to the tragic love story of Satoru Gojo and Suguru Geto. I said it right. Anyway, let's start with opening up Geto. Such a sore loser, but nonetheless, let's get started, okay? I used to get tight whenever I would see like homosexual edits of Suguru Geto and Satoru Gojo, because at first I didn't think of them like that. I didn't think of them romantically, at least, like I didn't think that they were like, I thought they were best friends. Like watching it for the first time, I thought they were best friends. I'm like, oh, these guys, they're just like really close and whatever. I didn't think about them romantically. But then I rewatched JJK, right? Because that's what I do, rewatch things. And so I rewatched JJK in timeline order though. So I watched Hidden Inventory. I think it was like 6 episodes or something like that. And then I watched Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Then I watched season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Then I finished up with Shibuya Incident, right? With the Shibuya Incident arc, right? And looking back, I understand now. Yes, Geto and Gojo were in love. Like, how could I not put that together, because honestly with Jujutsu Kaisen, they did such a huge fan service for females finally, you know what I mean? Like, anime, they be, when it comes to the females, with the boobs, small waist, long legs, pretty hair, big eyes, like the ideal woman, I guess, whatever, I don't know. But what other possible reason could there have been when Gojo didn't originally unalive Geto when he first turned against Jujutsu High School? Sorry. So yeah, these two men had the same point of view, just at different times and with different manners of carrying out their goals. And unfortunately, this led them to an oppositional place of no return. This wasn't a friendship. This was a love story, okay? It was a love story. Like Jujutsu Kaisen was a love story for Geto and Gojo. First of all, just the opening of Hidden Leaf Village. Just the opening of Hidden Inventory gives you a sycophantic vibe, because this boy got a long ass neck. Golly, you see that? Anyway, because it was full of clues if you analyze it properly. And Geto and Gojo basically, like, so the way the opening credits kind of started. First of all, I love Words Are Blue. That's like one of my favorite anime songs, besides like all the creepy nut stuff. But when you watch the Hidden Inventory opening, it starts off obviously with Geto and Gojo. They have like their backs facing each other, but they're still smiling, indicating even though they're at odds or going to be at odds, they will always have each other's back, or rather they would always love each other, because that's the love of friendship, obviously, right? Hello. Oh my gosh. Also, a quick side note, I'm not, like I said, I'm not Japanese, but I did a little bit of research, and in the community, like in Japan, public display of affection is really not common. Like, they typically don't do that. They don't like kiss and hug and stuff like that in public. They kind of mostly hold hands. But with that being stated, if you pay attention into the opening, like I said, you will see Geto and Gojo riding on the same bike. Geto is in the front, and then Gojo's like in the back on the same bike. Okay, so look back at it. Look back at it. Sorry. That riding on bicycles together, that's like a couples thing, you know, like that's typically a couples thing, you know, like boys don't be riding on the same bikes like that together. At least they shouldn't, unless they go, you know, they like each other, you know, that signifies a couples thing. So that's why I was like, all right, yo, like they've been slapping me in my face with like clues for like the longest. When they're in JJK, when they're JJK students, they share the same dreams, you know, protect others, change the world, use their power for something good. But Gojo, on the other hand, was a little immature with it, especially when they got in trouble for not putting up that veil during the "you crying" episode. You remember that he was like, I forgot what the little girl's name was, Udahime or something like that. I forget. Remember, they got in trouble for not putting. Well, Gojo was in charge of putting up the veil, and he didn't put up the veil. So anyway, this is exactly what Gojo said after that whole situation. Okay, looking out for the weak and protecting them is so exhausting. Quote from Satoru Gojo. Geto, on the other hand, says, survival of the weakest, that's the proper shape of society. That's episode 25. So yeah, that's like the first episode of Hidden Inventory. I could see the frustration on this matter because they're aiming for the same thing, you know, to rid the world, or Japan at least, of curses, but the manner of it is split. This love for each other, it wasn't loud, it wasn't obvious, but the love was there in every look, every wordless stare, every moment, every time they had each other's back. They were inseparable. They were inseparable, not just in battle, but in beliefs. Okay, there came a turning point because they failed to deliver the star plasma vessel. I'm gonna put don't fall because I will kick your butt. Stay right there. Okay, don't move. So when they failed to deliver the star plasma vessel, that's when things kind of shifted a little bit. Gojo had his awakening, and Geto, in a sense, was kind of like left behind. They started carrying out missions on their own, and so Geto, I honestly feel like Geto relied on Gojo a lot more because he was the most outgoing one. He was like extroverted, and Geto was intro. They kind of like meshed with each other very well. On Geto's point of view, he saw the world differently. He was alone, he was depressed. He started to see a cycle of suffering caused by the weak and maintained by the powerful. So basically what he was seeing was the way curses are created are through negative emotions or negative thoughts that we have, that humans have, non-sorcerers that humans have. But then Jujutsu Kaisen soldiers or sorcerers have to go out there, go in the field, and exercise these curses because of us. So at the end, though, they still wanted the same thing, but their timeline split. Gojo believed in protection, and then Geto veered off in thoughts of purification. Remember, humans are the source of curses. We're the ones who create curses because of our negative thoughts and feelings. Ultimately, they became enemies. Because their love wasn't enough to keep them from going on the same path, the final straw that broke Sugru's back was his final mission. And it was when he had to go to this village that was supposedly cursed, and he exercised the curse, but the village were blaming like these two young sorcerers, and he freaking lost it. Like he lost it. He ended up killing everybody. He unalived everybody in that village. This act of violence resulted in Geto's expulsion. Did I not open this part? Oh, I did. Yeah, so this act of violence that Geto did calls for his expulsion, right? But here's the thing. If he's expelled from Jujutsu High School, aka that means that he has to be assassinated because he broke some laws or some rules according to Jujutsu High. The Star Plasma Vessel incident, the loss of Riko, because that's her name, right? Riko, the Star Plasma Vessel, his increasing isolation after Gojo became the strongest sorcerer, contributed to Geto's disillusionment. So it sounds like a really, really tough breakup if you look at it. You know what I mean? Like if you get involved with someone and you guys have this common goal, but you guys think of getting to this goal differently and it doesn't work out, and then you guys end up failing on certain things, and then your significant other finds another way to become more powerful or whatever the case may be, or you guys see where I'm going. They were almost like leveled, and then something really bad happened, and then Geto stayed down here, and then Gojo like skyrocketed. It was just really, really, really like sad to see that Gojo didn't realize what was going on with Geto. You know, like he was too far in his own world. That's what happens sometimes. They grew apart, you know, but they didn't grow out of love. Gojo didn't unalive Geto when he first defected because he couldn't. When he finally did in Jujutsu Kaisen 0, he didn't do it out of justice. He didn't do it out of, you know, like retaliation. He did it out of sorrow. He whispered to him like the final words, and it was like 3 little letters. Supposedly someone said, legend has it that Gojo told Geto, I love you. I wouldn't be surprised, man. I wouldn't be surprised if he really did say that to him, because like I said, I felt like they were really in love. Okay, so I put them together. This is Geto, Suguru Geto. It wasn't that hard to put them together because their bodies were basically like already together. I just had to put their heads and the stand. Side note, I'm going to redo my stuff. I'm probably gonna have like Star Wars all in one show. And since I have more Jujutsu Kaisen figures, I'm gonna get them all together on one show. But I think I have Sukuna, I have Toji, now I have Geto, and I have Gojo. Even though I'm not a Gojo fan. I do not like Gojo. Like, I'm not a Gojo fan. I do appreciate like how, you know, like how, I mean, he's a fly dude, you know, like he's flea, like it's whatever, like they cool. He's cool to a point. I'll give him some type of credit. Regardless, though, let's get back to the story, or let's get back to my little rant rather. In the end, Gojo called him his best friend, his only friend. I feel like that was the closest Gege, the creator, will get to, you know, as far as like them having some type of relationship. Because like I said, the PDA, and I think even like that community, the Pride community, is not so open in Japan. So they didn't really like make this so obvious. I think it was very subtle the way he did it. In Shibuya, when Gojo saw Geto for the first time again, after Jujutsu Kaisen 0, he knew in his soul, in his heart, that was not Geto Suguru or Suguru Geto, whatever. He said it. Like, he was like, that's his body, but I know in my heart and in my soul, that's not Geto Suguru. Like, who else would know? When you are romantically involved with someone, you know your person. You know your person inside and out. No matter what, you know your person. And Gojo knew his person. Like, Gojo knew, yo, that's not you, bro. And then to make it even more tragic, right? Gojo tells, you know, Geto, like during Shibuya, he's like, how long are you gonna let that thing use your body? And Geto ended up fighting back. Like, he started choking himself. And he wasn't like, because Geto's already gone. Suguru is unalive. He's gone. So Kenjaku, okay, sorry, I didn't want to do any spoilers, but whatever, I'm spoiler queen. Kenjaku, who took over Geto's body, obviously, you know, they were about to seal Gojo in order to do the whole Culling games and to basically change the world into like sorcerers. Kenjaku and Geto basically had the same goal as far as purification, because basically they were just trying to take out humans to turn everybody into sorcerers or cursors or whatever the case may be. So they had the same views, but at the same time, right, when Gojo told, you know, Geto, hey, why you letting that thing use your body? When he started choking himself, it wasn't because he was trying to save himself. He's already gone. He's trying to save Gojo from getting sealed. Do I need to explain any further? He wasn't trying to let his baby get sealed. He was not trying to let his baby get sealed. And it was just like, damn, like they really do have a lot of love for each other, because even though the way things ended, they were at odds. They were against each other. Like Gojo, Geto's sorcerers, and Jujutsu Kaisen and Jujutsu Kaisen 0, they were fighting each other. Well, fast forward to Shibuya incident, when Kenjaku was in Geto's body and about to seal Gojo, here comes Geto basically trying to save Gojo from being sealed. Why would Geto save Gojo from being sealed if Kenjaku and Geto basically had almost the same goal, basically along the line of the same goal? You following? Like, they had to have loved each other, you know? Like, it's really sad. It's really sad. So some love stories, they end in marriage, some end in heartbreak, but this one ended in silence, which was so tragic, because in a battle fought on both sides, on opposite sides, and smiles given across unbridgeable divide, Satoru Gojo and Suguru Geto shared the same dream. But dreams don't always survive reality. They loved each other, but love doesn't always save you. Their tragedy wasn't that they stopped caring. It was that the world pushed them too far apart to find each other again. Like, their goals were just too unaligned. There were never enemies, just two souls who wanted the same thing at the wrong time, but different manners of doing it. You know, he had more of he flipped. At first he was like, I don't care to protect the weak. And then after he became stronger, he's like, yeah, let me protect these niggas, or let me protect these guys. And this one, he was like, yeah, no, we should protect the weak. And then after things switch, after the Star Plasma vessel, he's like, monkeys. Everybody that's not a sorcerer or doesn't have curse energy, they're all monkeys. We need to get rid of them. They were trying to get rid of curses. He was trying to get rid of curses in a sense, you know, by getting rid of humans. And he was trying to get rid of curses by getting rid of curses. So he was more like a medicine, and then he was more like a surgeon, just cutting it out. Side note, that's why Geto ultimately lost against Yuta. Geto fought with strength and Yuta fought with love. So if you remember in Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the last fight, because that's how Geto ended up losing. He ultimately fought Yuta, and Yuta, his curse, it was that Rukio, whoever it was, the young girl from his childhood who they made a promise to marry each other, whatever. Yuta and his curse were fighting because they loved each other. Geto was like, you fighting out of love, I'm fighting out of strength. And he lost his way to his love. Even though he still loved Gojo, he wasn't doing it he wasn't fighting for love anymore. He was fighting for strength, for numbers, you know? So it was just kind of sad to see how, you know, they had the same goals, they just carried it out differently. Geto Suguru, Gojo, Satoru Gojo. And Geto Suguru, guys. I'm going to put him up there. But I also wanted to touch base on something else. So since all of this stuff that's been going on, and I have to be very careful. I want to be very careful because I don't want to sound too political. But there is a lot of things going on. Almost anything and everything has been corrupted. There's so much propaganda. There's so much lies and division. We need to remember that we are the people of Earth. No matter what color skin that we have, there's only one race, and that is the human race. Black, white, Hispanic, European, you know, African, Caribbean, whatever it is where we from, it matters, but it doesn't matter at the same time, because at the end of the day, there is only one human race. I see a lot of disrespect, a lot of condescending comments, a lot of just back and forth dialogue off of things like on posts that are clearly propaganda. We have to remember to stick together. We have to remember to love each other unconditionally. Don't have someone take advantage of you. You know, like, you don't want to have people take advantage of you, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you're living right. We have become a very judgmental society. We have become a look what I got, or look what I did, or, you know, like, all we want is like recognition. We consume and we want recognition. We need to just completely stop. I've heard so many other people say the same thing, and I understand that it's very hard to do something like this because of the type of world that we live in. But we as a people need to stop consuming so much. As far as the brand name stuff, even food, you know, getting things that we really don't need sometimes, let's kind of stop that. We should try to save, try to help one another. The country has been at our necks every step of the way, whether it be gas, groceries, and groceries meaning like the recalls, the prices being skyrocketed. We are the American people, or even humans in general, we are constantly under attack, financially, politically, emotionally, spiritually, in all aspects of our lives. We are constantly being attacked. Our creator wants me to tell you this. Be aware of what you see. Do your research. Try to start your garden. Grow your fruits. Try to grow your vegetables. Try to grow your own fruits if you can, if you have the space. Get with your community. Try to eliminate the grocery store. Try to eliminate consuming so much. We don't need all these clothes that we have. Let's try to stop consuming so much. We are already being attacked from everywhere. All we are numbers. We're just numbers to these people. What we do is help them when it comes to this whole consuming thing. That whole situation with the tariffs, to be honest, I felt like it was a huge lie, because we're in June and we haven't had any tariff issue. But I bet you there was a skyrocketed. I'm pretty sure like the numbers went up on people like ordering things online, on Shein, on Temu, on Amazon, wherever people were ordering things. But it's like, that's what they want us to do, because they want us to fund what we're not seeing. We're funding them, and I don't know who them is or are, but we're funding them. We have to take pride pun intended, pride in ourselves, in our money, in what we consume, in what we accept, in what we believe. Do your research before you believe anything, because we are consistently being lied to. Okay, we just need to stick together now more than ever. We need to be more aware that a lot of this stuff that's happening is not that's not their end goal. You know, we need to learn our laws, we need to learn what's happening in this world and come together and be more vigilant with helping each other out. There's only one race, and that is the human race. So with that being stated, this is my video on Geto Suguru and Gojo, Satoru Gojo, and how I felt like they really did. I really think they really had love for each other. They really did love each other, but you know, their paths just kind of like set them apart. And it's just sad to, it was sad to kind of come to terms with, I guess, because I didn't, like I said, at first I didn't really see them as romantically involved with each other. But looking at all of the clues and, you know, their story, it really does give that they did have love for each other and they did want to be with each other, but they just couldn't because of their views and how they wanted to go about their goals. So yeah, that's my vid, guys. I hope you guys like it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully I can upload this to YouTube. But yeah, man, let me know how you guys feel about my little rant in the comments. Please comment, because you guys never do. I don't understand why. It's there so you guys can comment, not just watch. Okay? Okay. Bye-bye.